Try to make our date night dinners as no fuss as possible, because it's not very often that we actually get to sneak away. These are the kind of dates that we love, just throwing some food together, being outside together, and talking about our day. And our days usually consist of breeding cows, pulling baby lambs, farrowing piglets, things we never expected. I'm up here at Camp 5 Mary's. This is our favorite place for outdoor cooking, grilling, and entertaining. Brian and I are sneaking away for a date night tonight, and I am going to cook up my lamb steaks. So I like to take a leg of lamb and actually debone it into some really thick, delicious steaks. It's a lot easier than cooking a whole leg of lamb and actually a little bit more approachable. Then I'm gonna make my favorite chimichurri sauce. It's a little different take on a chimichurri, but absolutely delicious, great on everything. And then we're just gonna cook up some potatoes and onions and some zucchini to throw on the grill. So I'm gonna prep everything here, and then we're gonna take it up to the saddle. It's one of the highest points on our ranch, kind of one of our favorite places to just kick back and enjoy things at the end of the day. A leg of lamb can be a commitment to cook. But the best thing to do is get a really sharp knife, either a boning knife or a knife that you trust and is very sharp. Set the leg of lamb kind of on end, and you're just gonna cut right there next to the bone and slice down. You wanna kind of feel that bone to cut as close as you can to it. I'm gonna cut a little of the fat, trim the fat off the edges here, which you can do when you start or as you go. I'm going to fillet it down the middle. There's kind of an obvious spot, but if not, just go for it. And I'm left with these two beautiful, pretty even thickness steaks. Now the rest of the bone still has some great meat on it. This is the part that's a little harder to trim, so if you get one big steak off it, great. If not, I like to make those pieces into kebabs or a little chef snack while you're grilling. When you're looking for a leg of lamb, it's really important to try to source some well-raised, hopefully American lamb. It's hard to find these days, but our lamb is all raised right here on the ranch. Raising lamb is a little bit trickier because there is not much meat at the end of the day on a lamb. Beef will get between 400 and 500 pounds of meat, and lamb, it's more like 30 to 40. So we supplement that by using and honoring as much of the animal as we can. We save the hides when we're harvesting that would otherwise go to landfill, and we have our tannery actually turn those into sheep pelts that some of our customers use as decor in nurseries, wheelchairs, office chairs. Lamb pelts actually regulate body temperature really well, and they're really pretty and super cozy. So we try to make the most raising a species that really does not have a ton of meat on it. So you can see some of these are a little smaller. Just gonna wanna grill those for a little less time, obviously. I love nothing more than some lamb steaks. It just has a great mild flavor that you don't need much else on. A little salt and pepper, maybe a little rosemary, or I'd highly recommend the chimichurri. This chimichurri recipe is really easy and very flexible, so if you don't have all the ingredients, it will still be delicious. Now, I like to make it with a lot of parsley, a lot of basil, some red wine vinegar, good olive oil. I like to put in a little jalapeno. And then the secret to my chimichurri is a fried egg or two. And then, of course, a little 5 Mary's spice rub to round it out. So I'm gonna mince up this garlic. And sometimes I'll do this in a food processor, so it makes a really smooth chimichurri. But tonight, I'm gonna make a rough cut chimichurri. My parsley. Add my basil. I had some oregano tonight, so I'm gonna add some oregano to this. Then I'll mix in my wet ingredients, so red wine vinegar, lots of good olive oil. I'll do about half a jalapeno for this one. If you want a little less kick, you can always remove the seeds. My fried egg, just gonna chop this one up as well. I know this sounds a little bit strange to add a fried egg to your chimichurri, but I promise you will love it. And finally, a little 5 Mary spice rub. And this covers all your bases. Salt, pepper, it's got some red pepper flakes, some rosemary, some thyme, Gonna kind of mix and chop. I like kind of a wet consistency to this, so if you need to, just add a little more olive oil. I cut up some zucchini and squash here, and I love to just do these right down the middle. Throw a little olive oil and spice rub. Try to make our date night dinners as no fuss as possible, because it's not very often that we actually get to sneak away. Working together can be challenging when you're working with your spouse, but Brian and I have had a lot of practice, and we've gotten really good at making sure that we find time for mini dates wherever we can, whether it's jumping in the feed truck to go feed together, fixing a water line, jumping on the quad to go check cows. We're gonna be up at the saddle at date night. The girls are gonna be finishing chores for us, feeding the horses, closing up the pig barn, and we really trust that they know how to take care of our livestock on this ranch as well as we do. I'm gonna put a little olive oil in my stove here. I'm gonna cut some onions up, throw these in with some potatoes. Brian says food always tastes better when you're eating outside, so we're gonna put some of our favorites on the grill and enjoy all this delicious food. And I think I am ready to meet Brian, start grilling. Cheers.
Cheers, love.
This is our red blend that pairs with lamb. It's
delicious. Absolutely delicious.
A little spice rub on them. We get the potatoes in the fire.
Get them right there in that hot corner.
Good spot for them. All right, I'm gonna put the thickest ones on first.
You don't want to overcook it, I think, is the key. You want to pull it off at about 130 degrees or so as we shoot for. So heavy, medium, rare.
I think that's the key to all good meat, is not to overcook it, because when you overcook it, it gets tough and dry. And you always have to remember that whatever temperature you're cooking it to, it's gonna cook 5 more degrees when you pull it off and let it rest. If you are not sure, you should definitely use a thermometer, because it's the best way to know what the temperature of your meat is and when to pull it off. And letting it rest is really important, because the proteins in the meat really soften and get juicy as you're cooking it, and if you cut it right away, you're gonna lose all that juiciness. And give it at least 5 minutes before you cut it. This lamb looks cooked perfectly. I'm pretty proud of that. Was a team effort. I'm gonna drizzle some of this chimichurri, but we'll probably need a little extra for dipping. This right here.
Absolutely fantastic. Chimichurri really brings everything out in it.
There's nothing better than good lamb.